Good morning. In the previous lecture, we talked about photoelectric effect. Next article is quantum theory of light. Quantum theory of light. In earlier classes, you have studied various theories of light: corpuscular theory of light, wave theory of light, electromagnetic theory of light. Out of these, before advent of quantum theory of light, electromagnetic theory of light was popularly used, widely used for describing various phenomena, various experiments. And therefore, electromagnetic theory of light has some measures of truth, because it is a valid or renowned theory used to explain, support various phenomena, various experiments performed by various peoples. Electromagnetic theory of light is at odds with the photoelectric effect. In the last article, we discussed that electromagnetic theory of light could not explain the photoelectric effect, and therefore a paradox was represented by the photoelectric effect. The paradox presented by the photoelectric effect can be explained by using the notions proposed by Max Planck. Max Planck, German scientist, German physicist, he put forth his own ideas about electromagnetic energy, light energy, and according to Einstein, the paradox which was presented by photoelectric effect can be explained, can be resolved only if we use the notions proposed by Max Planck. Let us see what notions were proposed by Max Planck. Max Planck studied energy spectrum or spectra of the radiations emitted from very hot bodies which worked as luminous bodies. The bodies which are hot enough to be luminous can emit the light radiations. electromagnetic radiations. The spectra of such electromagnetic radiations was studied by Max Planck. Now, what is meant by a body hot enough to be luminous? There are different bodies which are working as luminous. The most popular everyday example is sun. Sun is a body, natural body. The very important member of solar system. Very huge, very massive body. The whole solar system is getting heat and light from the sun. Now, how the sun is continuously emitting the heat and light radiations? Thermonuclear reactions are continuously occurring inside the sun, and during these thermonuclear reactions, heat and light energy emitted. Therefore, the sun emits heat and light radiations in the form of electromagnetic waves in all directions. And this light energy, this heat energy can reach to billions of kilometers away from the sun because of very high temperature of sun, very high intensity of the heat radiations and light radiations, which are electromagnetic in nature. This is the naturally occurring hot body which is luminous, which can emit the electromagnetic radiations continuously. There are some man-made bodies, man-made objects which can continuously emit, which can emit electromagnetic radiations. I mean, if we continuously provide the circumstance needed for continuous emission of electromagnetic radiations to man-made objects, these man-made objects can also continuously emit the electromagnetic radiations. The tube we are using at our homes, in offices, colleges, it is also luminous body, because as soon as you switch on the switch of the tube, it starts emitting the light. Of course, this is not a hot body, it is cold body. Discharge gases are filled inside the tubes. Whenever discharge of these gases occur, it emits the electromagnetic radiations in the form of light, and the energy needed for this purpose is provided by electricity, the voltage and current. You have studied LED. Actually, you use LED in many experiments. It is also emitting light. Whenever the electrical energy is provided to this LED in the way required by it, it can continuously emit the electromagnetic radiations. It is again not hot. Tube, it is not hot. Still they are emitting the electromagnetic radiations. the staple lamps, and so many are there. Now if you go to the incandescent lamps are hot bodies which work as luminous bodies, can emit the electromagnetic radiations as long as energy needed is provided to the incandescent lamp. Incandescent lamp has glass envelope. Inside the glass envelope on a base used to fit into a holder. One coil is there inside the incandescent lamp. This coil is made from tungsten. We call this coil as, you can also call this coil as filament. When the circuit is switched on, the electrical energy will be provided to the incandescent lamp. The current will flow through the tungsten filament of the incandescent lamp. It has certain resistance. Because of that resistance, heat is produced across the tungsten filament. When temperature of the heat produced across the tungsten filament reaches about 2600 degrees Celsius, the tungsten filament starts emitting electromagnetic radiations in the form of light. This is other example of a body hot enough to be luminous. Firewood, when you are burning woods, burning of this firewood will give away the light energy, radiate the electromagnetic radiations in the form of light. Of course, temperature of burning of wood will be very, very high. It means that whenever we provide energy to different bodies, some bodies need heat energy. The degree of hotness of this heat energy is very, very large. Then those bodies can emit the electromagnetic radiations. Some bodies need energy, but the degree of hotness is just equal to the ambient temperature, and those bodies can emit the electromagnetic radiations in the form of light. But these bodies are not hot bodies. Planck studied the spectrum produced by hot bodies, and he explained that energy of the spectrum is directly proportional to temperature of the hot body. If we go into details, we will find that energy of the spectrum is directly proportional to frequency of that particular spectrum. More frequency, more energy; smaller frequency, smaller energy. He derived some relations for the energy spectrum of the electromagnetic radiations emitted from the hot bodies. He was able to explain the relation he derived between the energy spectrum of the electromagnetic radiations and temperature of the body which is emitting these electromagnetic radiations. He assumed that when light is traveling from the hot body, it is traveling in the form of energy burst. Small energy bursts are emitted by the hot body, and in the form of this small energy bursts, the electromagnetic radiations travel away from the hot body. These energy bursts are called quanta. or quantum. Quantum of energy or simply energy quanta. These small energy bursts which are emitted discontinuously in the discrete nature by the hot body are named as energy quanta or quantum of energy, energy packets. And energy of these energy bursts, energy of the quanta or the quantum of energy is given by the expression E is equal to h nu, equation number 1, and this expression was given by Max Planck when he derived the relation between energy spectrum and the temperature of the hot body emitting these electromagnetic radiations. One important relation he derived is this, E is equal to h nu, where E is energy of this burst or the quanta or the quantum. H is Planck's constant whose value is 6.63 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. H is known as Planck's constant. The constant derived by Planck, Max Planck. Therefore, we call this as Planck's constant. And value of Planck's constant is 6.63 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. Nu is frequency of the spectrum, frequency of the electromagnetic radiation he studied. He found that if we have 100 quanta and frequency of all these 100 quanta nu is same, then energy of all these quanta will be same, because H is constant. E will change only when nu changes. That is, as long as the frequency of all the quanta is same, energy of all the quanta will be equal. If you change the frequency of quanta, if you change the frequency of the quantum of energy, energy of that quantum will change. So he derived this relation E is equal to h nu, stating that energy of the little bursts, energy of the quanta or energy of the quantums emitted by any source of light is always given by the equation E is equal to h nu. H Planck's constant, nu frequency of the corresponding electromagnetic radiation. Einstein suggested that if we use these notions, these ideas put forth by Max Planck, it is possible for us to resolve the paradox presented by the photoelectric effect. Einstein had assumed that on the basis of these notions, Einstein had assumed that whenever electromagnetic radiations or light energy get emitted from a source of light, any type, it is emitted discontinuously. One quanta emitted, then second quanta, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. There is no continuous emission of the light energy. Light energy emitted from a source of light in a discontinuous manner. At the same time, he had no doubt that when light energy is propagating or traveling through space, it travels as electromagnetic radiation or electromagnetic wave. It means that Einstein was of the idea of that light has dual nature. Sometimes it travels as wave at some other time, at some other conditions. It travels as energy packets, quantas. These quantas are also known as photons, in the form of photons discontinuously in the discrete way. And therefore, Einstein stated that the source of light not only emits the quanta discontinuously, but the light energy or electromagnetic radiations also travel in the form of these quanta, also travel in the form of these photons. And if we consider this nature of the light energy, then the photoelectric effect can be explained completely very easily. The equation we wrote for photoelectric effect in the last article is this one. H nu is equal to T max plus H nu 0, equation number 2. H nu is equal to T max plus H nu 0. This equation was very well explained by quantum theory of light. What is quantum theory of light? Einstein stated that the source of light emits electromagnetic radiations or light energy radiations discontinuously in the form of quantas, one after the other. Not only that, when this light energy, these electromagnetic radiations travel, they travel in the form of quantas, they travel in the form of photons. This is the base for quantum theory of light. And if we use this notion for the light energy, we can explain, anybody can explain this equation. Taking help of this idea of light energy, let us try to explain equation number 2, which is the equation written for photoelectric effect. H nu. What is H nu? Now we know what is H nu. It is energy of the photon, energy of the burst, small energy burst, or quanta, or quantum of energy. It means that when you allow light to irradiate surface of a metal, photons of energy H nu, when you keep frequency nu constant, if we keep frequency nu constant, that is if you allow monochromatic light of same frequency to bombard or to irradiate a metal surface continuously, that is there is bombarding of energy packets H nu on surface of the metal. T max, maximum kinetic energy of the photoelectrons, maximum kinetic energy of the electrons emitted in photoelectric effect. H nu 0, it is the minimum amount of energy required by an electron to get free from the metal surface. Electrons are present on the metal surface, they are also present beneath the metal surface in various atoms. These electrons are bound with the atoms with a certain binding energy. To release these electrons, to make these electrons free from the metal, you need to provide certain minimum amount of energy. This H nu 0 is that minimum amount of energy, the minimum amount of energy required to release, to dislodge an electron from the metal. This way, the equation we derived from photoelectric effect can be completely and very easily, satisfactorily, which is in good agreement with the experimental facts. This type of explanation can be provided by the quantum theory of light. By the notions, when we consider that the source of light is emitting quanta, photons, discontinuously, discretely, and when the light propagates, moves in space, it moves in the form of the photons, in the form of the quanta. When we consider this as the theory of light, this equation can be very well explained. I have just explained the equation. This is the way of explaining this equation if we use quantum theory of light. Electromagnetic theory of light or wave theory of light cannot be used to explain this equation, because the idea or fundamentals used to derive electromagnetic theory of light or wave theory of light are different from the ideas used by Max Planck and Einstein to explain the production and propagation of electromagnetic radiations from the source of light. Now, why every metal has H nu 0? As I told, every electron is lying inside an atom. It is orbiting around the nucleus inside atom, and these electrons are bound with the atom with certain binding energy. To make this electron free from the atom, from the metal, we have to provide energy at least equal to the energy with which the electron is bound with the atom of the metal. That energy is H nu 0. It is known as work function of the metal. It is known as work function. Work function, minimum amount of work the external agency needs to do to make an electron free from the metal. Work function, minimum amount of work that should be done by any external agency to make free an electron from the metal, that is known as work function. Mathematically it is H nu 0, H Planck's constant, nu 0 the threshold frequency. If this were not true for the metal, what would have happened? If this were not true for the metal, what would have happened? The electrons will automatically pour out of the surface. The electrons will automatically pour out of the surface, just like the water from a tap pouring out. And as we know, it is not happening with any metal. It means that every metal has certain work function. Work function is different for different metals, and unless and until you provide energy equal to or greater than work function of that metal, no electron can be emitted from the metal surface, and therefore it is necessary to provide energy at least equal to this energy, so that the metal can make free electrons from its surface. One thing. Second thing, here I have not written simply kinetic energy, I have written Tmax, maximum kinetic energy. It means that if you study the energy spectrum of the photoelectrons, the electrons emitted in the photoelectric process, if you study energy spectrum of the photoelectrons, you will find that the kinetic energy of different electrons is different. There is a range of kinetic energy. Minimum value of kinetic energy, maximum value of kinetic energy, and this range is function of frequency nu. It is not function of intensity of light. Number of electrons get emitted from a metal surface is function of intensity of light. Kinetic energy of any electron is function of the frequency of the electromagnetic radiation incident on the metal surface in making free the electron from the metal surface. If frequency of the radiation bombarding the metal surface to make the electrons free from it is constant, then why there is a range of kinetic energies of the electrons emitted in the photoelectric effect from some minimum to some maximum value? Why the kinetic energy of all the electrons is not constant? The reason is some electrons get emitted from the surface, some atoms will be there on the surface, okay, and from this atom the electrons get emitted whenever you apply H nu, and energy required is only H nu 0. But if you dislodge the electron, let us suppose that there is one layer of atom on the surface, you can go below this layer, second layer below the surface, third layer below the surface, fourth layer of atom below the surface, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and so on. If this H nu is penetrating, this H nu is penetrating to the atom in the second layer beneath the surface, to the atom in the third layer beneath the surface, to the atom in the fourth layer beneath the surface, and so on, we find that this H nu required is go on increasing as you go beneath the surface to make free the electrons from atoms at second layer, third layer, fourth layer, fifth layer, sixth layer, and so on below the surface of the metal. Energy required to make free the electron will go on increasing, and therefore the kinetic energy of these electrons will go on decreasing. If more part of H nu is required to release the electron, T max left will be minimum. Because of this reason, the kinetic energy of electrons emitted in the photoelectric effect is not same, and therefore we talk of average kinetic energy of the photoelectrons, and this average kinetic energy of the photoelectrons is function of frequency of the electromagnetic radiations making the electrons free from the surface. This photoelectric effect can be supported by thermionic emission. Now, what is this thermionic emission? Thermionic emission is the process in which when you provide thermal energy, heat energy to certain metal, because of this heat energy, electron gets emitted from that metal surface. This process of emission of electrons is known as thermionic emission. So, thermionic emission is the process of making the electrons free from a metal when heat energy is provided to the metal by any external agency. When we provide heat energy continuously to a metal with the help of any external agency, what will happen? There will be rigorous thermal agitations, rigorous thermal vibrations of the atoms of the metal as well as the electrons inside the atom. This is because the thermal energy provided by the external agency is gained as kinetic energy by the atoms and by the electrons. When these agitations, thermal agitations are rigorous, they are because of large kinetic energy, and if this kinetic energy reaches to a value more than binding energy of the electron will be emitted from the metal. The electrons so emitted are known as thermions. The electrons so emitted are known as thermions. These thermions are just similar to the photoelectrons. These thermions are just similar to the photoelectrons. We can calculate the energy required by an electron in thermionic emission to get free from the metal surface. That is the work function of the metal. We can compare this work function of the metal during thermionic emission with the work function of the metal during photoelectric effect. And we will come to know that the work function calculated for a given metal for thermionic emission and for photoelectric emission is same. It is different for different metals. We can find the work function for different metals. Work function for different metals is different because the binding energies of the electrons with which they are bound with the metal are different for different metals. But if we find thermionic emission for given metal, if we find the work function for the given metal in thermionic emission as well as in photoelectric emission, we will find that the work function in both cases is the same. Thus, the thermionic emission provides validity to the photoelectric effect. Thermionic emission provides validity to the photoelectric effect. It supports the photoelectric effect because in case of photoelectric effect, light energy is provided to release the electrons from the metal surfaces, whereas in thermionic emission, heat energy is provided to release the electrons from the metal surface, and energy needed to release the electrons from given metal because of these two processes is same. It means that thermionic emission is just similar to photoelectric emission. In thermionic emission, heat energy is used, whereas in photoelectric emission, in photoelectric effect, photons or light energy or electromagnetic radiations are used. The physical process taking place in thermionic emission as well as in photoelectric effect is same. This is about half of the article of quantum theory of light. We shall proceed with the same article in the next lecture. Thank you.